Yep, she's at it again. What's up? It's 12:15-ish here at Site B on the 25th day of August in the year of our Lord Steve the Cat 2023. It is about 74 degrees and sunny and muggy. And it is time for our usual Friday hypocrisy and time once again to spin the wheel of irrelevant D&D concepts. Ding, backstory. Yes, once again, backstories are a thing because the Crown Princess Champion of Backstories has made yet another video about backstories. So according to our friend Gini D, 1 out of every 5 5e players surveyed has said that the most important thing to them in the D&D game is backstory. Not, a rich, interactive world, a compelling story, a living, breathing, vibrant world that I want to invest time and energy in, a multi-layered story with compelling and interesting heroes and villains. Nope, backstory. Backstory is the one thing player characters most want in D&D, according to Miss Genie D. Do we agree with her? I don't, but apparently do. So before we get into this, before I get into my usual rambling, let's just make one thing clear. I do not care if you want to write a 30-page backstory for your character. In fact, I encourage it. Go ahead. Write it down. Fuck. Try and get it published and make some money. Good on you that you have that creativity. I just don't want to see it at my game. Send it to me in an email, and you and I can discuss it ahead of time. But if you sit down at the table with that 30-page backstory, demanding that everybody at the game put their lives aside while you go through that backstory and make us feel that if we do not obey that backstory, we're somehow bad, well, yeah, no. And I think part of the problem is that the backstories have gone from a 1 or 2 line story about the character to yet another tool people are using to sabotage the game. If you don't follow my backstory, you're a horrible DM, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a homophobe, and I am going to shitpost you on YouTube and ruin your career because you didn't follow my backstory. And if you don't believe that's true, I'm going to read you one of the letters she got. My group recently wrapped a 3.5-year campaign. During character creation, I defined a few relationships to my DM and requested that he not kill my character sisters. And then hold true to the DM that my parents had left on a holy mission and have never returned. So right there, very beginning, 2 demands on the DM before the DM even had anything to say about it. I demand request that you do not kill my character's sister, and I demand request that my character's parents disappeared and they don't know where they are, and I want that to be something in the game. And that seems to be the running theme of these character backstories. This is what I demand you put in the game, and if you don't, blank. And that is the problem. Now, we all know what I would have said to that individual if they came to my table and said, I demand blah, 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 blah. My first question would be, so I can't kill your sister is what you're saying. Definitely killing your sister is off the table. But anything else is okay, right? Because if you come to my table and tell me I demand you cannot kill my character's imaginary NPC in this imaginary game of imagination, I'm going to be like, fine. Instead, I'm fucking having Snidely Whiplash come in, kidnap your sister, tie her to the railroad tracks, and demand that she sell him the land before the train runs over him. Reference if you don't know who Snidely Whiplash is. Because, I would just fucking use that sister as a constant thorn in your side. You don't tell the DM they have to do something with the backstory. And I had that happen to me. Did you want to hear my player's character? No, let's wait till we meet and I actually meet you and we talk about your character's backstory. No, you need to listen to my player's character's backstory now on the phone, or I don't have time. I'm not going to remember it. Never heard from them again. How dare I not want to listen to their backstory on the phone? That's how important it was to them. Now, up till now, we've been perfectly fine with our backstories being, let's go in a forest and for a walk, or you meet in a bar, or, I left home because I was the 3rd born kid and I had nothing else to do. And I want to go out and get money and adventure. That was it. Because Gygax himself, guys, Gygax himself said the backstory isn't what is important. It's the forward story. It's the story you're going to tell with that character in the DM's world that's important. And every script writer, every storyteller, every deconstruction of the heroic, myth is going to tell you the same thing. The heroic journey is not about what happened before the character started. It's what happens during and after that shapes the character. That's what we care about. We don't care about what Bilbo was doing before Gandalf showed up at his front door. Everything we know about Bilbo that we need to know, and everything we know about the Shire that we need to know before Gandalf shows up at the front door, we know by the end of the first page. Everything we need to know about Bruce Wayne is completely explained in one paragraph. One of the greatest backstories in fiction, okay? The number one most recognizable character in fiction around the world with the most recognizable backstory, whose backstory simply is strange visitor from another planet sent to our world with powers and abilities beyond those of mortal men. That's it. That is that. That is the only backstory we needed to know. Everything else we needed to know about that character has been told since that multiple times and multiple iterations. But on day one, all we needed to know about Clark Kent was those lines. All we needed to know about Bruce Wayne was, I witnessed my parents murdered in front of my eyes when I was 9 years old, and I have dedicated my life and fortune to shaping myself to become the individual I need to be to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else. And then, of course, criminals are a cowardly, suspicious lot. I need to become something they will fear. A bat, all right? Everything you need to know about Batman is in that paragraph. Everything else we know about Batman, we're told going forward. In a hole in the ground lived a hobbit, bitten by a radioactive spider. Strange visitor sent to our planet. I witnessed my parents murdered by me. James Bond 007 License to Kill. Those are the backstories. That's all we need to know about your character. When you sit down at the table, you want to know my backstory? If it's longer than 2 minutes, I'm tuning out. Everybody else is tuning out. Okay? Because your backstory shouldn't be what motivates your character. Your front story should be motivate your character. Now, if you and the DM want to talk ahead of time about, hey, I had this idea. Is it something we could interpret? And if it's not going to interrupt the game, if we talk about it before the game, but I'm okay with it if you don't allow it. But, is there maybe some way we can build on that? That's fine. That's fine. I think that's fine, right? If you meet before, if you meet after, but I think no one wants it to interrupt the game, and no one wants the backstory to be used the same way any of these other tools that exist now are being used to circumvent and sabotage the game. Again, I don't think anybody cares if you write a 30-page backstory. In fact, I would encourage it. Go ahead, write that 30-page backstory. Publish it. Maybe you'll make some money and I can be like, I knew that person because I know of somebody who did that. Christine Morgan, who wrote stories about her characters and then went on to be a award-winning published author. Okay? So sure. And if it's important for you to see it, email it to me or talk to me about it before the game. But don't use it to sabotage the game. Don't use it to take time away from anybody else. Certainly, we don't want to hear your 30-page backstory at the game when we're adults with real lives and who maybe, if we're lucky, have 3 hours to play once a month. I don't want that 3 hours once a month to be ruined by a 30-minute backstory. Everything I need to know about your character, I should be able to know within 2 minutes. Or in script writing, everything I need to know about the character, I should know within 10 pages when every page is a second. So everything I need to know, I should know within 10 seconds. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It is a dark time. 10 seconds, everything you need to know about Star Wars is in that scroll. Everything else you're told going forward. Tell me the story of your character going forward. And there are tools. What is shock? There are tools now that DMs are allowed to use. I mean, we've done it all the time, but there are tools. It is called asking the players questions while you're playing. Okay, you're in town. You see a bar. Steve, what's the name of the bar? The Prancing Tomato. Okay, you go into the Prancing Tomato, you see the usual people. You see two people sitting at the table. Susan, who are those two people and how do you know them? Oh, that one's my cousin Sally, and the other one is her fiance. And that's how I know them. And I know that Sally doesn't want to marry the fiance because, see, that's how you do backstories. Tell me the backstory as we're playing, as we interact. How do you know this barkeep? How do you know that storekeeper? What secret do you know about the dungeon that nobody else knows? Oh, you want to go home and talk to your grandma? Fine. Tell me about your grandma as we're playing. But do not give me a 30-page backstory as we're playing. Certainly do not use the backstory as a tool to sabotage the game. You can't kill my sister. My parents have to be missing. No, they don't. I'll decide if your parents missing and what happened to them and what you think you know about your parents. And if you tell me I cannot kill your sister, that means it's fucking open game on your sister for everything else. So don't be surprised by the end of the next game, you receive a ransom letter from Snidely Whiplash telling you that if you don't sell Snidely Whiplash the land, he's tying your sister to the railroad tracks. +5 experience points if everybody knows where that's from. So bottom line, Genie D, thank you for once again starting this unbelievable nonsense that is not important because apparently it is relevant. And we would rather talk about something stupid like backstories as opposed to something important. And if you don't believe me, again, just look at this. Just look. These are all links to pages that have articles, generators, videos about backstories. And I assure you, every one of these is longer and more in depth or more just nonsense than what I'm saying now. So let's just, in closing, as a published screenwriter, as somebody who worked in the industry for 16 some odd years, as a published author, as somebody who knows authors, I'm going to tell you right now, if I am not interested in your character in the first 2 minutes, I'm not going to be interested in your character. Everything I need to know about your character, I should know within the first 10 seconds of the movie or by the end of the first page of the comic books. Everything I need to know about a certain specific character, I know in the following sentence. Strange visitor sent to our planet from his home with powers and abilities beyond those of mortal men. With those lines, I know everything I need to know about Clark Kent. It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It is a dark time. Everything I need to know about Star Wars, I know it by the end of that scroll. 10 seconds. I know everything I need to know about Star Wars. In a hole underground lived a hobbit. Everything I need to know about Bilbo, right there. Everything else I will learn going forward. Backstory is not what's important. Front story is what's important. The story you're going to tell going forward. That is what matters because that is what shapes the kids. +5 experience points if anybody knows who Snidely Whiplash is. Nope. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to say. If you appreciate this content, let me know. If you don't appreciate this content, let me know. If any of you have a NPC you don't want me to kill, let me know because I'm kidnapping them and tying them to railroad tracks. Till next time, I'm the OGGM telling you to like, share, subscribe. Please consider buying my product because those vet bills for Steve the Cat are getting expensive. And I'll talk to you later. See ya.